So now that we've talked about ideas for your physical classroom or area, let's talk about some other strategies to promote your calm workspace. We'll start with using sounds to transition in a classroom, and then I'll model how I've used this strategy in my own classroom. This is helpful for enabling learners to move to the next activity independently with little direction from the teacher. And it also promotes a calm and positive classroom management style. So when we consider a transitional sound, we want to choose a soft, unique tone that will alert learners to take action while maintaining a sense of order. And that's really important, especially when we have such limited time and there's a lot of students in a classroom and we need them to go in a purposeful way. We want to make sure we have the order. So it should not resemble another signal like a fire alarm or a school bell. We don't want our students to get confused. So students may need to move to the next activity or move within a large group. So it's whatever you want to design your transition for. And you want to introduce this routine and teach it like you would any other routine. You want to model and use repetition and practice that may include whole group rewards. So it's also important to plan for additional time for this routine to teach mastery with the entire group, because students will likely not reach consistent mastery on the first few tries. So model your expectations, and we want to reward our small improvements. So in my classroom, I use a tone bar from the middle section of a xylophone. And I found that this is really a great way to signal transitions, because it's very different from the bell that signals lunch and recess at my school. So the soft tone is also consistent with the calm learning environment that I want to maintain. My goal here was to have students move in a timely and safe manner, but also I didn't want to have to manage it totally. I wanted to be able to transition, like for my next reading group, while they were also moving. So at first they wanted to rush and run, but once we emphasized safety and paired our transition with a countdown timer, they were much more successful. So in my classroom, one soft tone signals students to finish the activity and tidy their workspace. And then 1 minute later, two soft tones signal students to move to their next center or activity. We practiced with modeling and repetition until we reached mastery for an orderly transition. So this transition took probably about 2 weeks to totally master. So give yourself and your students a lot of patience, because depending on what their needs are, it might take them a little longer. Our last topic today is calming cozy corners, which in my opinion are one of the most important additions to any learning space. Students can regulate their emotions or take a break from learning in a purposeful way. They can go independently for a set amount of time, or we can suggest that they spend some time there after they show some connection seeking or attention seeking behaviors like work incompletion or even physical aggression. So here are a couple of images of spaces that may work well for students of all ages. The image on the left shows what I think would be great for a lower elementary grade. And then the one on the right, it looks like it would be for upper elementary, even through high school. So first, to create your cozy corner, you want to have that open floor plan, which works well for eliminating obstacles, but cozy corner should be in a spot that is away from the major activities. So depending on your students, you might think about adding a beanbag chair or even a small area rug. Just like I mentioned before, if you put the small area rug, make sure it's secure. We want to make sure that we teach specific routines. So for example, how will students go there and how long can they stay? So, books and posters with clear instructions will also help students regulate their emotions. At the beginning of each school year, I ask my students what they can do to calm their bodies when they're angry or upset, and we make a class book. And so I keep it in a basket in my corner for students to reference. And it's amazing that they actually will go through and reference their page in our book when they are feeling upset, which is great. We want to model using the cozy corner and show exactly which activities are permitted. Some students may actually want to just go and sit in a quiet space, and that's okay too. Many students benefit from calming toys or tools that they can squeeze or fidget before they can return to learning. So I keep crayons with blank paper, foam balls, fidget spinners, and liquid motion tools in my cozy space. I also have a basket of small stuffed animals and a mailbox for notes that I open each day. Um, the thing that's most surprising is that I almost thought that students wouldn't write me notes when they were feeling upset or angry at something or someone. And the mailbox in my cozy corner is very popular. Um, so for distance learning, I have a form, a Google form that I have given students the link to. And when they are feeling angry or anxious or need a little encouragement, you can just drop me a little note and I can follow up with them. And so that's a special way you can do it during distance learning, um, which works well. So finally, consider using digital resources like a CD player with headphones or a space for students to stretch out. So, this space to stretch has helped encourage many of my students to visit the Cozy Corner so they can just move around. The last thing to think about is how can you help your students regulate their emotions and return to learning if they don't want to use it? They don't want to physically get up and go to that space. I know some of my students thought that the cozy corner meant that they were in trouble. So that was a misconception that I had to really work hard to change uh, their thinking, because we don't want it to be a space where our students think that they're in trouble. This is a space where they can self-regulate and return to learning on their own. So I've thought about this a lot because I do have some students that won't go to the cozy corner, even if I tell them repeatedly and encourage them to go. So I have either just brought them calming music on my computer. I've uh, handed them some noise canceling headphones or even just headphones so they can listen to some music. We've also done light exercises as a class, done some Go Noodle, some kid yoga. And sometimes I even position myself near the headphones, or I'll model a think aloud to remind my students that the cozy corner is open. So, logistics like time, space, and tools that you include will vary with your students and their needs. But the important thing is to have that safe space available.